just days after his big retirement on Saturday night's main event, Bill Goldberg appeared on the Ariel Helwani show, and he just kind of let loose on some of his thoughts on how the retirement was handled, the build-up toward it, and many other topics. This was a really interesting interview. I encourage people to listen to the whole thing because it's him just say, first of all, I'm so thankful to be on a storied franchise like Saturday Night's Main Event. And then he'd just go on and on and on. And he'd should it have been on a PLE? Absolutely. I mean, Saturday Night's Main Event. But I'm not complaining. I'm not complaining at all. He would say listen, I got 28 seconds. How many people would love to just get 28 seconds? And then they cut me off after 30 seconds. You don't do that to me, but I'm not complaining. I'm not complaining at all. It was and then it'd be, I just say WWE has this deal with Fanatics for their podcast network. And in a better set of circumstances, in a different lifetime, Bill Goldberg, Bret Hart on a weekly podcast together, analyzing current wrestling. I would love these two together because this was like the Statler and Waldorf of WWE here is what this felt like. But man, he was very upset about the lack of promotion for the match, which, I mean, they shot the angle in October, but he said they were talking about this in November. By January, he knew the date, he knew the opponent, but the WWE, they were not going to promote this until the Saudi show was done.
He knew the date?
He said he knew the date and the opponent by January.
So what was the whole thing about only having 3 weeks?
Because WWE didn't start promoting it until 3 weeks out. It's not like they announced this in advance in January. Like his retirement will be in July and doing a big, a larger thing.
So he's upset that he didn't. His match didn't get promotion from 6 months back, and that there was only 3 months of actual promotion on TV.
3 weeks.
Sorry, 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Okay.
Listen, I'll just say this from me. I thought what they did for Goldberg was pretty good for what he got in terms of how much. Let's remember, this year is about John Cena's retirement, and he is going to be a much higher priority than Bill Goldberg's retirement this year. Could you have made this feel a bit bigger? Certainly you could, but it also probably would have required this going back several years. I think they have gone through so many of these Goldberg appearances and matches hey, this is kind of where it is. The NBC thing, listen, everyone can have their criticisms of WWE and their handling of certain things. Listen, you've got a hard out at the end on network television. It's not even WWE's call to go over. The affiliates would be bailing out of this to go to their affiliate programming. So, I mean, they were just at the mercy of that. Could you have, done less of a match? And honestly, the speech was excellent. The speech probably would have been great if it could aired on NBC, but it didn't. I didn't take that as some slight at Bill Goldberg that they're cutting him off. That's out of WWE's control to, you're up against the clock and it's a hard out.
Does it sound like he wanted his retirement to take place on a pay-per-view?
He flat out said it would have been better on a pay-per-view. He wanted it, he just... Listen, and I know a lot of people are coming out very negative towards Goldberg on all of this. This is someone that has worked. He worked extremely hard to get ready for this match. He had to go through stem cell treatments. He worked for 5 months, and trust me, for a 58-year-old guy that's got to try and at least keep up the image of a Bill Goldberg that's half his age. That's a super tall task. And you can see just the work this guy puts into it. So in what's getting you up at 6 a.m. to do all of these workouts and to get into this shape, it's thinking about this big retirement that obviously in his head, he had envisioned it being this much bigger thing. But I mean, I watched this. It's man, you got a moment here in the ring with your son. You were the whole crowd in Atlanta was hot for you. You had a perfectly respectable match with Gunther. This is kind of for a 58-year-old, could have gone a lot worse on Saturday.
And it sounds like he fully realizes that, and he's not complaining. But
I'm happy.
Wasn't very
it's all good.
Yeah.
And he's also like, he wouldn't even shut the door. Like, he might do another match.
Well, listen,
I don't know with who, because I mean, he did not endear himself to AEW when he made those comments a few months back either. Yeah. And, you know, the time for him to do that was one of these Wembley shows in the past few years. I just do not know if, like, I think AEW is in a different headspace now when it would come to like a Bill Goldberg. It's G1 Climax season, and that means the Post Wrestling Cafe has you covered with podcasts covering every single tournament match. Plus, Rewind Away goes back to review the best of the WWF Volume 16. We'll also have reviews of UFC 318, TNA Slammiversary, a special Ask Away edition, and of course, XL editions of Rewind a Raw, Dynamite, and SmackDown, ad-free with the news of the week and your feedback. Sign up now at postwrestlingcafe.com.
I wonder if Tony is still entertaining that potential there, especially if like the chance presents itself to maybe do something, like redo something that the WWE did not do well. I think
the Sting experiment.
Exactly. Yeah. Like as a way to maybe like, you know, show that like you can do something better than the competition. I could see that being somewhat attractive. It would take, you know, a little bit of an apology from Goldberg. I mean, that's the thing about all of this where I do maybe have a bit of my radar up is this Goldberg just angling for his next paycheck, you know, by being dissatisfied with this so that he could build interest in a bidder somewhere else to, you know, acquire his actual last match. I mean,
unfortunately, there's one company, and you didn't do yourself any favors, like politically, like that, like doing that interview he did a few months ago. I don't know why.
He did mention like there was this thing about Israel wrestling in those Israel shows,
right?
That was briefly mentioned.
That had popped up over the last like year or so. Something about that. I don't know either all the details, but I mean, realistically, I mean, yeah, if there was some crazy promoter out there with like a ton of money internationally somewhere, I guess that's like your wild card option. But I mean, realistically, I mean, this is probably it for Bill Goldberg, unless like really it's AEW or nothing. And I don't see AEW going that direction.
Ric Flair had his last match on an iPay-per-view.
You could do Bill Goldberg's last match, I guess.
You could. Yeah. It just sounds like from maybe listening to this that I think like Bill Goldberg, if these thoughts are legitimate, I think he has a very different perspective of where he fits into the current WWE landscape than how the WWE views him. You know, I think Goldberg thinks of himself as, okay, like I'm still a lead character, or I should be still presented as a lead character. And he's got a point in that, like, if it was The Undertaker coming in and having his last match, he probably would not be cut off. I mean, if The Undertaker were to give a retirement.
If The Undertaker were there, if it was 9:59 on NBC, The Undertaker's getting cut off too. I don't.
They would not put him in a situation where he would be cut off at 9:59.
Let's remember, though, for the AEW comparison, this exact same thing happened to Sting after the retirement match. If you remember the pay-per-view, they were at a time, and Sting's speech also was to the crowd in Greensboro, and you had to go see it online after. So it was actually very similar.
Yeah, ultimately, I'm not really on the side of Bill Goldberg here. I feel like he got like more than I think an adequate send-off. But I'm just trying to maybe justify what he thinks is a reason to complain. And that's that I didn't get a Taker retirement. I didn't get a Sting level retirement. I didn't get a John Cena level retirement. Meanwhile, I'm Bill Goldberg, right? Meanwhile, I think most of us see Bill Goldberg as a far sort of like level beneath all of those stars. Okay, we're not talking about maybe their peak, you know, in the industry, but we're talking about maybe their current relevance in the industry. And a Goldberg at this point, just, you know, we're used to him occasionally popping in. I think throughout all these years, he's still somewhat of a sort of like outsider in the WWE sort of ecosystem. He's a guy who comes in he came in from another company, had a bit of a stint here, then started coming in for those rare appearances, and wasn't really the sort of like loyal soldier that a Cena or a Taker was to this entire company, and doesn't have the personal relationships to like, you know, the upper brass that a lot of those guys do. So I didn't
have a great relationship with Paul Levesque, like during like their run together. And then, I mean, it was the year Mania was going to Atlanta, and Shawn and Hunter were doing media. So this is around 2010, 2011. And this was a famous clip at the time. And they asked about Bill Goldberg just because he was a big name in Atlanta. And like, Sean was, as I recall, like dismissive of Goldberg, but Hunter just outright said like he would never. He's not a Hall of Famer. Just like they both were just very very negative on Goldberg, and in time I think that Levesque has mended fences with a lot of people here, but Goldberg even like mentioned in this interview too the relationship with Levesque, and some of that I think some of this was like paranoia out of Goldberg thinking that they were trying to sabotage him here. I really didn't get that sense. I think you looked at something realistically, like for something that was set up so many months ago, it got 3 weeks of promotion, and that's just like you're at the mercy of this schedule of so many big shows that they couldn't make this Goldberg thing into this big deal. Like, did this feel anywhere like Sting's retirement last year? Not a chance.
It can, because Goldberg is not an active presence on television.
That's his complaint, was I wasn't an active presence on television.
So he was willing to pop up on Raw, maybe even like be in a tag team with an up and coming star. Like, was he willing to work that sort of schedule?
He seems like he wanted to be involved, clearly.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. So can you clarify something for me? So this date was planned months in advance. We knew Saturday night's main event was going to be in Atlanta, and that Goldberg was supposed to be on this months in advance. He
said by January he knew the date and he knew the opponent.
Okay. And if it was a Saturday on July the whatever, it would have been a Saturday night's main event, correct?
Yeah, it would have to.
So how does this play into the whole counter-programming thing?
Well, All In was already announced by January.
Oh, okay. So
that date was out there. Now, gotcha, I don't know, like, for the Saturday night's main events, like, I'm willing to give, like, a reasonable benefit that is WWE able to dictate its Saturday night dates for NBC in prime time, or is it just a case of, like, NBC is giving you the date? Like, I can't say definitively WWE put their foot down and said, that night we're going up against them, but, I mean, All In Texas was announced in like a year ago, and then tickets went on sale in November. Okay. And I mean, the fact that this Saturday night they end up with the date opposite AEW's biggest show of the year. Yeah. And also, like, you could argue, like, outside of Cena wrestling in May, and like Goldberg might be like the biggest match they've promoted for a Saturday night's main event. Like, they could have put that on a PLE, and they opted to put it on the Saturday night show when they were going to be running the same day as AEW's show. Like, they did see a value, I think, in Goldberg's retirement and opting to put it on television.
Yeah.
I just wonder when Goldberg gets home if he went to his DVR and realized my 14-minute match also had commercial interruptions.
Well, here's the other thing is, like, if you knew it was going to be a Saturday night's main event, wouldn't you go into the match with all of those expectations?
I wonder how much he understood that aspect of things, of the just the level of limitation on a Saturday night's main event if your hope was to have like this extended match and segment afterwards. And like, there is no other WWE production that is so at the mercy of its network partner than NBC.
What do you expect out of Goldberg in two weeks? Which is,
yeah, that was the other part here. There were a few things in here. Like, he volunteered the information that he steered his son Gage away from signing an NIL deal with WWE because the pay was so low. I mean, just stuff that, like, I don't know, if I was angling for like one more match in WWE, I mean, this would not have been the course of action I would take. But yeah, he said, I'll have a lot more to say.
If I was angling for my kid to get a contract, it wouldn't necessarily be the angle I would take either.
Or maybe Gage texted Paul after, like, listen, I would have loved that NIL deal. Bill said he'll be able to say more in 2 weeks. And Ariel asked, what, do you have an NDA? And he's like, something like that. I imagine he's got some contractual obligation, although I don't need to hear from him much more than what he said. He pretty much put everything out here. I mean, there wasn't a whole lot of needing to read between the lines here. I mean, I guess he can get
there's always more detail, to be revealed, and he can truly if these are only
whatever was restricting him. This was the version that's restricted by something contractual. Yeah. I mean, I would wonder if it violated whatever he was trying to refer to here.
Honestly, like maybe it's the knee injury talk with Rollins, but like I'm just super sensitive to like what truly is like, in the minds of these pro wrestlers, and what are they actually trying to promote in all of these public sort of like interviews. Will we have a podcast to promote in 2 weeks check out my first episode where I tell all.
Should I reach out in 2 weeks? Should we try and get the un-NDA'd Bill Goldberg? Well, there you go. It was quite the interview. I mean, just listening, like, honestly, Ariel even said this the day after. He's like, I just booked him. I had no idea that he thought it was just going to be, you know, Bill comes on, chats about his career. It was a great moment. And that's what I thought this interview was going to be. Just hey, it was a wonderful moment. And I was there with my wife, my children, all these friends flew in, and boom, he's just immediately like, he's so uncomfortable.
It sucked, but I'm not complaining. But
I'm pretty pissed off, but it's good, man. It's all good.
But I'm grateful. But it sucked.
Yes. So anyway.